Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to look at the GameTouch 28 terminal, the new terminal and self-service technology. The GameTouch 28 terminal has a couple of unique features. The main one being the main touchscreen interface, which is a 42-inch by 36-inch screen that players will use to purchase draw game and instant tickets. Along with the touchscreen, we have the barcode scanner on the right-hand side. Players are going to use this to check their tickets, and if the tickets are winners, use the touchscreen to reinvest their winnings on the terminal. We'll talk more about this later. Below the barcode scanner, we have the bill acceptor. This is where players are going to insert currency to add credits to the terminal. Below, at the bottom, we have the main lock to access the terminal, and below the lock, we have the playslip reader. Players are going to insert their playslip here to generate draw game-based tickets. Down below the playslip reader, we have the collector tray. Both draw game and instant tickets will be dispensed by the terminal into the tray. Instant tickets will be dispensed in the center and to the left. Draw-based tickets will be dispensed to the right-hand side. During this training, we're going to cover other outside information such as the player interface. We'll then have a look inside the terminal at all the features in there, along with all of the management screens and functions. Let's talk a little bit about care and maintenance of the touchscreen. The touchscreen can be cleaned with a soft, dry microfiber cloth with a glass cleaning spray, or you can use one of these Windex cleaning wipes. It's very important that the terminal not have anything sprayed directly on the screen. When cleaning the screen, please ensure that the terminal is powered off to ensure no liquid causes damage on the screen. For the screen itself, you'll see that the screen is divided into 4 sections. The topmost section of the screen is going to display ESMM, advertising, and game information. Below this advertising, you will see the graphics of all of the draw-based games. This is where players will select those games to make quick pick purchases and to also enter their manual entry requirements. Below the draw-based games, you will see that the games are divided into 2 sections. The upper and lower sections are separated by a banner in the middle. The banner in the middle gives instructions to the player along with the amount of credit that is currently on the machine. On this banner, you will see that there are 2 buttons. The first button allows the player to flip the screen so that the game graphics that are on the top section can be flipped to the bottom for ADA compliance. Let me demonstrate how this works. I'm going to touch this flip screen button on the right-hand side, and the game graphics that are on the bottom are now displayed on the top. The screen will remain like this unless the player either touches the flip screen button again, or after a defined period of time, the screen will return to its original positioning and the graphics will return to where they were. The other button on here is the How to Play button. This provides information to the players on how to operate the GameTouch 28 terminal. Let me demonstrate how this works. I'm going to touch this button, and the player is going to be given a list of instructions on how to operate the terminal. Once they have read and understood all of the instructions, the player can now touch anywhere on the screen to return to the previous main screen. When players need to initiate action on the terminal, they must scan their driver's license in order to be allowed to enter currency or to scan tickets to add reinvestment to the terminal. Let me demonstrate how this works. When the license is scanned, the player will be presented with a message letting them know that they may continue. The player can now add credits to the machine in one of 2 ways. The player can take a winning draw-based or instant ticket and scan using the barcode scanner. Let me demonstrate. When the player scans the ticket, they will be presented with a message letting them know that the ticket is a winner. They will have the option to select yes to add the credits to the machine, or select no to take the ticket to the agent for redemption. If they do not respond within a 15-second time period, the machine will automatically display a message telling them to go to the agent to redeem the ticket. The second way that credits are added to machine is with cash. Cash is now inserted into the bill acceptor. Once accepted, the credit will be displayed on the banner in the center of the screen. The maximum amount of credit allowed on the terminal is $100. Players can add up to 3 winning draw game or instant-based tickets up to a maximum individual value of $25 on the terminal. If a player attempts to add more cash or to reinvest a ticket that will cause the terminal to go over the $100 credit limit, they will be presented with an error message informing them of such. Now that I have credit on the terminal, I may go ahead and select either draw-based games or instant games for purchase. To purchase an instant ticket, the player will select the instant game graphic that they wish to purchase. Based on the amount of credit on the terminal, the player will be presented with their purchase options on screen. You'll notice in this example that I have $10 in credit on the terminal, which allows me to purchase 1 ticket for $5 or 2 tickets for the total of $10. The other graphics on here are grayed out because the player does not have enough credit on the machine. You'll notice that after 15 seconds, the player will be presented with a message that it will time out unless action is taken. Player can select OK to return to the purchase screen. To make a purchase, player selects one of the options on here. On the upper left-hand corner of the screen is an information icon. When selected, the player will be presented with information regarding this specific game. Let me demonstrate. You'll see here that the player is presented with information on the game, such as how the game is played, the different prize levels in the game, and how many total prizes. To return to the purchase screen, the player can either touch the screen or can let the screen return automatically after a 15-second delay. To purchase a ticket, I can now simply touch the button for the purchases that I require. I'm going to select 1 ticket. You'll notice that a confirmation screen is displayed, informing me that I have selected 1 ticket for purchase and the total amount. I now have the option of canceling the purchase or selecting the purchase button to continue. Let me make the purchase. My ticket is now going to be dispensed in the collection tray, and a graphic informing the player of where the ticket is being dispensed will display on screen. To purchase a draw-based game ticket, the player will need to select the game icon from the touchscreen or insert a completed playslip into the playslip reader. Let me demonstrate using the on-screen touch buttons. I'm going to select a Mass Cash button. On the screen, you'll see that based on my credit amount of $5, I have 3 options to choose from that are Quick Pick and another option to pick my own numbers. Just like the instant game, the information icon is on the upper left-hand corner of the screen. When I select this, it's going to present me information on the Mass Cash game, including the prize values and the odds. I can wait for the screen to return, or I can click on the X to return to the previous screen. From here, I can choose one of the Quick Pick options or select my own numbers. I'm going to select my own numbers this time. On the screen, you'll see on the left-hand side my board information. I'm going to select my numbers from the grid from 1 to 35. On the left-hand side, you'll see my board has been displayed, and on the bottom I have 2 options to cancel this purchase or to go ahead and purchase this ticket. I'm going to go ahead and purchase this ticket. A graphic will now be displayed for the player, informing them that the ticket is for 1 draw and the total price is $1. I now have an option to cancel this purchase or continue with this ticket. I'm going to go ahead and continue with the purchase. A graphic will now display showing the player where the ticket is to be dispensed and collected. I now have remaining $4 in credit on my machine. This time, I'm going to select a quick pick. So again, I'm going to select the Mass Cash game. And now you'll notice that I only have two buttons lit up, a $1 button and a $2 button. I'm going to go ahead and select the $2 button. Again, I'm going to be presented showing that I have two plays selected with an option to purchase or to cancel. I'm going to go ahead and purchase. And my ticket is now going to be dispensed in the collection tray. I now have $2 remaining in credit on the machine. Because this machine does not give refunds, I need to spend this $2. So now what I can do is select from either the instant games that are available on here, or I can choose more draw-based games. Let's go ahead and select another game. For Keno, you'll see that I have the option to do regular Keno and Keno with the bonus. Because I have $2 on here, you'll notice that all of my options are available. I'm going to go ahead and select a $2 5-spot ticket. Again, I'm going to be presented with the confirmation screen to go ahead and cancel or continue with the purchase. Let me go ahead and purchase. With 0 credit remaining on the terminal, my player session has now ended. So for me to continue, I will need to scan my license again before I can either scan a ticket for reinvestment or apply cash by inserting into the bill acceptor. Along with selecting quick picks and your own numbers from the touchscreen, the second way to generate a ticket for a draw-based game is using a bet slip. Once credits are applied to the terminal, the player will verify their age, go ahead and insert a completed bet slip into the play slip reader. The ticket will now be dispensed in the collection tray at the bottom. The machine does indicate to the player that change is not given. However, there are some instances when the machine will issue a refund slip to the player. One of those is if the machine is disabled by the remote key fob while there is credit on there. The terminal will issue the player a refund slip, and they must take that to the agent for reimbursement. The second instance when a refund slip will be issued is when there are no instant games or draw games available for purchase. This will happen after the draw games become unavailable during the downtime at night. If there are no instant games available for purchase based on the credit amount on the terminal, a refund slip will be issued. The player can then take this to the agent for reimbursement. Now that we've covered all of the features on the external part of the terminal, we're going to have a look inside. When the terminal is delivered, there are going to be two sets of keys that come with the terminal. One set of keys will be for the main door and the main lock. The second set of keys will be for the bill acceptor. We're going to look at the bill acceptor a little later on. Now we're going to see how to access the machine. I'm going to select the key marked MD for main door, and I'm going to insert that into the lock. Turn the key into the vertical position, and on the side of the door will be a latch that needs to be raised in order to open the door fully. The alarm will immediately sound. To disable the alarm, the agent will need to enter the local ID into the numeric keypad. The ID is 123456 and the password is 1234. This user ID and password is common for all agents. Once the user ID and password has been entered, the alarm will cease to sound, and the management functions main screen will be displayed. We're now going to cover some of the features inside the terminal. Inside the terminal, you can see some of the features that we discussed when we were looking at the external. We have the main screen through which the agent will manage all of the functions, including inventory management and generating reports. We have the barcode scanner, which, when the door is open, allows the manager to use for scanning either reports or for management functions to add inventory to the bins. The bill acceptor, which we looked at earlier on, is also protected by lock and key. We'll have a look a little later on how to empty the cache box and how to clear a jam in the bill acceptor. The placeup reader, which we used earlier on when generating draw game wagers, and we'll look at how to clear a jam and clean the playslip reader later on. And we have the thermal printer that prints reports and draw game tickets. Above the main screen, this orange button is the main power for the terminal. When the button is in the 1 position, the terminal is powered on. When it is depressed and in the 0 position, the terminal is powered off. When powering the terminal off, press the button and leave it off for approximately 15 to 20 seconds before flipping back to the 1 position to power the terminal back on. To the left of the main screen, you will see a quick reference guide for simple tasks such as loading and unloading tickets, and also barcodes for printing and generating reports. Above the barcodes, on the metal panel, to the left, will be the button for disabling the alarm if it is not done through the main screen. The button is located here. The ticket bins are located behind a set of double doors. To access the ticket bins, the agent will need to release the latch on the primary door. To open this door, turn until it's in the locked and vertical position. The first door will open out fully, presenting you with a second door that protects the bins. This also enables tickets to be dispensed correctly from each bin. To access the bins, I'm going to open up this secondary door. You'll now see 7 rows of 4 bins for a total of 28 instant ticket bins altogether. Each bin is numeric, along with a load and unloading barcode to facilitate instant ticket functions. To pull out a bin or a row of bins, there is a green latch to the right-hand side of each row. It is not possible to withdraw a row of bins while this latch is in place. Let me demonstrate. To release the latch, push the latch to the left. You will feel it snap, and it will now be possible to pull out the row of bins. The topmost row of bins will come out and move downwards. This is to facilitate access to this top row of ticket bins. When pushing the bin back in, ensure that it snaps back into place and the latch fully retracts back into position. All of the rows, except for the top row, will come out straight. The top row is the only one that comes out and leans downwards. Let me demonstrate how to retract the bin back into position again. The barcode scanner is positioned in a cradle. When the door is closed, it facilitates players being able to check their draw-based and instant tickets to see if they are winners for reinvestment. It is important that the agent ensures that this barcode scanner is correctly placed back into position. Failure to do so may inhibit the player's ability to scan the tickets when the door is closed. Now we're going to look at the bill acceptor and cash box and learn how to empty the cash box and to correct a jam in the bill acceptor.
Below the barcode scanner is the bill acceptor. Let's talk about how to remove cash from the bill acceptor's cash box. As we mentioned previously, the key marked BA is needed in order to access this area. To open the bill acceptor door, insert the BA key into the lock, turn it to the right, and gently pull the door forward. This reveals the cash box. To remove the cash box, simply lift up the blue release button at the rear with one hand, slide the cash box toward the back, and gently lift it up and out. To remove money from the cash box, locate the round opening, push down the blue button to open the door, then push up the clear stacker and slide the money out. Now, let's reinsert the cash box. Lower the cash box back in while pressing it to the rear just as you did when you removed it. Once it is all the way down, gently pull it forward until it locks into place. To close the bill acceptor compartment, lift up the door, close firmly, turn the key to the left, and remove it. Cleaning the bill acceptor is very easy to do. In order to clean this component of the terminal, the acceptor module must be removed from the chassis in order to open the front sensor area. Not removing it from the chassis could cause damage. To open the bill acceptor door, insert the bill acceptor key into the lock, turn to the right, and gently tilt the assembly down. Remove the bill acceptor by pushing up the silver latching bar and pulling straight out. Gently lift the read head from the bill acceptor. Clear the bill path area of any foreign objects. Using a soft cloth, wipe the bill path and sensor areas as needed. Be sure to also wipe the side walls of the optics housing. To reinstall the acceptor module, reinsert it back into the machine. Press it back gently so it locks into place. To close the bill acceptor compartment, lift up the door and close firmly. Lock the bill acceptor door by turning the key to the left and remove the key. Now I'll walk you through clearing a jam in the bill acceptor. Use the bill acceptor key to open the bill acceptor door and gently tilt the assembly down. Remove the bill acceptor by pushing up the silver latching bar and pulling straight out. Now, clear the jammed bills. After the bill acceptor has been cleared, gently slide it back into its locked position. If the bill acceptor is put into its proper position, it will reset after 10 seconds.
Now we're going to look at the playslip reader. We're going to learn how to care and maintain and clean it.
The playslip reader is located here, below the bill acceptor. To open the playslip reader, gently lift up on the black raised lever. The reader itself is located on the bottom of the upper area inside the white strip. To clean it, use a clean, dry, soft cloth, dampened with water, and gently wipe the reader glass until all dirt particles are removed. To close the playslip reader, just press down until it clicks.
Now we're going to look at some maintenance for the printer.
Let's review the process for changing paper. To open it, press the silver button on the printer cover and pull up on the sides of the printer cover to open. Next, remove the used paper roll. Now, insert the new paper roll so that the paper feeds from the bottom towards you. Make sure the paper comes over the roller. If this is a new roll, leave about 12 to 18 inches hanging out and close the cover firmly. The printer automatically advances and cuts the paper. At the bottom of the piece of paper that just dispensed, you should see the words Acutherm Ultra and other information.
Now we're going to have a look at the management function screens. So to enable that, I need to log in as the logical agent user, which is 123456 with a password of 1234. I'm going to select the green check mark. And now we are on the manager function screen. You'll see there are a range of icons that are on here. We're going to take these in turn. The first we're going to start with is the reports icon on the upper left-hand corner. When I select the reports icon, I'm going to be presented with three options. I have the draw games reports, local reports, and instant reports. Let's have a look at the draw games report. For example, let's take the daily invoice report. Let me select that. And let's select the today report, which is report number 50. The report is going to be displayed on screen to the right of the report on screen are up and down arrows, allowing me to navigate up and down in the report while it's on screen. Underneath the report as it is displayed are two icons. The first icon with a number 1 on it allows me to print what is visible on screen only. The second icon will print the total report regardless of what is visible on screen. Let me demonstrate. Both reports have now printed. The first report is only showing the options that are on the screen right now. The second report has printed the report in its entirety. You'll notice that on the top of the screen, the orange buttons are showing me the path into the screen that is now visible. So for example, I've gone from the home menu into the reports and into the daily invoice report. To backtrack, I can select the reports icon and that will take me back one screen, or I can click on the home and that will take me back to the main screen altogether. I'm going to go back into the reports icon again. And the second option you have in here is the local reports. The local reports are specific to this machine. You'll see in here that we have some important reports, such as the shift report, and a new report, the configuration report. We'll talk a little more about the configuration and what that report contains a little later when we look at the configuration screen. While there are many important reports in here, I'm going to point out one of the new reports called the Audit Trail Report. When it's selected, the Audit Trail Report will display the last 10 player sessions. A player session is defined as the period where all transactions occurred between credit being added and that credit being expired. This will include all instant game purchases and draw game purchases. The agent can scroll down through the report and see each of the transactions listed. The transactions are part of the player session. The agent will be able to review which bin an instant game sale came from, and will also be able to see if any draw game tickets were purchased as part of that player session. The agent can print the entire report or print what is visible on screen. I'm going to print the entire report. In printing the entire report, I should now see 10 player sessions on the report with the details of the transactions from each session inside that section. I'm now going to go back to the local reports. The other important report is the shift report, and we're going to talk about that a little later. Again, to select any of these reports, just touch the report that you wish to have. Select the option. And from here, you can navigate up and down or print what is on screen or the entire report. To get back to the main screen, I'm going to touch the home icon. The final option that you have under the reports menu are your instant reports. When you select the instant reports, you'll see that we have 15 options here. Again, to generate a report, I'm going to select the report. I'm going to select and enter the game number. Touch the check mark, and my report appears. Very simple. The next option is the tools and services, right underneath the reports icon. When I select the tools and services, there are 6 options on here. The configuration option will display the settings that the field service technician entered when configuring the terminal. There are 3 screens on here. The orange button at the bottom allows a user to navigate to the next page and the last page. Let's talk a little bit about what is on the first page, the second page, and the third page. The first page contains settings that the field service technician entered during the configuration of this terminal when it was installed. The settings on here cannot be changed by an agent. Page number 2 will display information such as the denominations of bills accepted by the terminal, the maximum credit, and the maximum number of bills before a warning is displayed that the cash box is getting too full. You'll see on the bottom the option to have the tray light as low, medium, or high. The default is high, but the agent can reset this to medium or low if desired. Page number 3 allows the agent to adjust some of the settings on here. The auto print sales report, when switched to yes, will mean that the report will automatically print when selected on screen. Set to no means that the user will have to initiate the printing of the report manually on screen. The report sales organized by can either be game and bin, or bin. Add inventory offline will be defaulted to no by the technician upon install. The planogram can be defaulted to yes or no. The planogram is local to the machine and allows a field sales representative to design the display between the bins and what is displayed to the player. The last option is for age verification. When this is turned on, it will require the license of the player to be scanned before money can be inserted into the terminal, or any draw games or instant games can be purchased. When selected, the configuration report is going to display all of the configurations that came from the Tools menu and the 3 configuration pages that we saw earlier. This report can be printed, and an agent can review the information that is on the report should they need to go back into the configuration screen and change any of those options. I'm going to go back to the Tools and Services. The next option on the top is the Device Tests. The Device Tests allows the agent to test any of the equipment inside the terminal, from the barcode reader, the bill acceptor, the printer, and any of the bursters on the 28 bins. For example, let me select the printer icon. A test ticket has now generated from the printer. This is one of the ways, after you replace the paper in the printer, that you can generate a test ticket to ensure that the print and the paper are dispensing correctly. Back on the Tools and Services, the next option is for Terminal Reset. This Terminal Reset is the equivalent of turning off the power button to reset the terminal anytime you are required to do so as instructed. The fourth icon on here is the device status. When selected, it will display information regarding all of the devices in the terminal. For example, the main door is currently open, and you'll see on screen that we have a red error message letting us know that the main door is open. The bin status will show us bins that have tickets loaded in there. You'll notice that the bins that have inventory are lit up in green, and the bins that do not have any inventory loaded are in black. On the left-hand side, you'll see that the status of some of the devices will either say OK, online, or offline. If there is an error, the error message will be displayed here. Back on the Tools and Services menu, the last 2 options are to change the password and switch user. The password should not be changed on the terminal. The default agent password and login is defaulted. LSRs or sales reps will have a different login to access certain functions on there. The next set of functions are specifically for lottery sales reps. Lottery sales reps can log on and manage different functions on the terminal. In order for a lottery sales rep to log on to the terminal, they first must log on using the local ID. The local ID for the sales reps will be 234567, and the password is 2345. I'm going to enter this now by going to the Tools menu and switching the user from the agent local login to the LSR login. Now that the terminal has been signed on as an LSR on a local level, I can now select the SR functions. The LSR will now need to enter their host credentials in order to access the menu. I'm going to manually enter the host credentials right now to access the LSR menus. Once the LSR is signed in, you'll see that we have a range of options on screen that the LSR can use to manage functions at the retailer or agent level. The first option on here is the sales rep host sign off. This is what a LSR would use when they want to sign off on the host level, but still remain signed on at the local level. The next button is the agent's adjustments. When selected, the LSR will be able to perform debit or credit adjustments on the terminal. Full book and partial book returns are possible through each of these functions. Again, when it's selected, the full book information can be scanned or manually entered using the PEC activation card. The option to settle books on behalf of an agent is on the lower left-hand corner, along with the print last receipt. The print last receipt will enable an LSR to print a receipt from the very last transaction that they performed, whether it is a full book return, partial book return, or a settle book transaction. The last two options on here are lottery supplies orders and instant game orders. Each of these options is accessible. Once selected, the LSR will be presented with a list of information from which to choose from. Once they have made their selection and entered the required amount, an order will be pending from this terminal. You'll notice that because I placed an order, 3 more icons appeared on the lower level of the screen. They are Cancel Order, Review and Print Order, and Send and Print Order. These buttons will not illuminate unless an order for supplies or for instant tickets has been placed on the terminal. To cancel the order, I can select the Cancel Order button. I will receive a prompt that says this will cancel today's current active order. I can select yes. I'll receive a confirmation slip from the printer, and you'll now see that the 3 icons on the last row have grayed out, meaning that there are no pending orders on the terminal at this time. This function will also work for instant game orders. Once I select the instant game orders, I can order the required inventory through that screen, and once submitted, the 3 icons on the lower level will light up again, allowing me to either review it, cancel it, or send it through. The next icon we're going to talk about is the logging and security. If I select the logging and security, I'm going to be presented with 5 logs. The first log is the cache log. When I select the cache log, this is going to display any times where currency was inserted into the bill acceptor and any transactions generated thereafter. This includes instant purchases, draw game purchases, and so forth. I can navigate down through the screen. The terminal will keep 200 records in the cache log over a period of 14 days, whichever comes first. As new records occur, they will overwrite the oldest records in the log. The security log allows a user to see events related to access to the machine, such as the door being opened, a user logging in, the door being closed, and so forth. Again, 200 records will be kept here and will be overwritten by the oldest records. It is possible to print these logs by using the 2 print icons on the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Again, the icon with the number 1 will print only what's visible on screen. The other icon will print the full report of 200 records, or however many are on the actual report. The event log is going to contain events such as users logging in, like the agent or the sales rep. It will also display information such as when the door is opened or closed, or the cash box is accessed. The refund log is going to keep a record of all refunds issued by the terminal, the date, the time, and the amount. And finally, the com log will keep a record of any issues with communication between the terminal and the host. To return to the main screen again, I can either press the home icon. The reprints icon will allow an agent to reprint the last transaction, last play, last draw game validation, or last instant validation. To return to the home screen, the final button on the bottom is the Instant Functions button. When selected, this will allow an agent to activate a book on the terminal, but not as part of game loading or ticket loading procedures. On the top row, we have the inventory management functions, and the shift report. The inventory management, when selected, will allow an agent 4 options on here. Add change inventory, which will allow us to add or change or update inventory in any of the 28 bins. Remove inventory, which will allow us to remove inventory and clear the inventory levels from a bin. Feed ticket, which will allow the ticket to be brought forward through the burster. And ticket reverse, which will allow a ticket to be sent back through the burster. The feed ticket and ticket reverse options do not clear the inventory from the bins. When a bin is selected on screen, you'll see the information contained in that bin for any game that is loaded on the right-hand side of the screen. Currently, when you access this screen, the default will be for bin number 1. However, a user can select another bin, and the game information, if there's any loaded in that bin, will be displayed on the right-hand side. Here we see that we have a game loaded inside here. It's game number 50. There are currently 100 tickets in that bin. The ticket price is $20. It's a 9-inch long ticket, and there are 100 tickets in the pack. We're going to look at how to add inventory a little later. Right now, what I'd like to do is call to your attention the 3 icons on the bottom. Underneath the ticket reverse button, we have the inventory report. When selected, this will generate on screen a list of each one of the bins, the game number that is in that bin, if the bin is loaded, the price point, the number of tickets in the bin, and the value of all those tickets in the bin. Again, the agent can print what is on screen or the entire report by selecting from the print options below the report on screen. You'll notice that when I select the inventory report, it also shows me that that report can be accessed through the reports menu, through the local reports option, and through the inventory report option. I'm going to return back to the main screen and return to inventory management. We'll see that there are 2 other buttons at the bottom. The view mapping allows us to see how the games and the inventory in the bins are matched. When I select this, I can see that I can look at either the bins, the display, or the planogram report. If I select the bins option, it's going to give me each one of the 28 bins in order. Once I select one of the bins, it's going to show me the information on the game that is loaded in that bin. I've selected bin number 1, and we'll see that game number 13 is loaded in that bin. It is bin number 1, and it's a $5 game. If I select the display option, and I select bin number 1, because game number 13 is loaded in bin number 1, and that game is also displayed in the number 1 position on the screen for the player, you'll see that it matches. There are some times when games on the display may not match the physical bin inside the terminal. The planogram report will print out the planogram for the agent to review so that they understand the mapping that the sales rep has used when configuring the planogram. To return back to inventory management, I'm going to select that. And the last option at the bottom is the parameters. When selected, this will display all of the games that are currently loaded or have been loaded in this terminal before. I can select a game from the display, and the parameters of that game are displayed on the right-hand side. There are options on here to add new games and to delete any games that may be in the games table already. You'll notice that on the screen, the fields that are editable have a pencil icon next to them. Again, I'm going to return back to the inventory management section. The last item I'd like to touch upon is only accessible by the LSRs once they are signed on a local level and also on a host level. It's in the inventory management function. So I'm going to select the inventory management option. And you'll notice that on the bottom right-hand corner, we now have an edit mapping button that lights up. This is only accessible once an LSR is signed on locally and through the host. This allows the LSR to map the tickets in the bin and the tickets that are visible to the player on the front screen. I'm going to select the Edit Mapping button, and I'm now going to be presented with a message that's going to inform me that I have to manage the mapping using the touchscreen once I close the door. I now need to close the door, but not fully, in order to access the functions on the main screen. Once the LSR closes the door, they now have access to the mapping function on the main screen. You can see here that any bins with inventory loaded will display the bin number, the game number that's loaded in the bin, and the price point of that game. Currently, bin number 1 is highlighted on the upper left corner. The information on the game in that bin is selected to the right-hand side, right here. Underneath the game information, you will see we have 4 options. We have one-to-one mapping, by price descending, by price ascending, and custom. One-to-one mapping means that whatever bin the game is loaded in is the bin and the display that the ticket icon will appear on the screen to the player. Price descending will arrange the tickets on the screen so that they are in descending order of price point. The higher price point tickets will begin on the top row, down to the next row and the next row. The lowest price point tickets for $1 will be displayed on the lower levels. By price ascending will mean that the lower level prices are on the top rows and the most expensive tickets are on the lower levels. Custom allows an LSR to indicate where the display and where those games are displayed to the player on the screen. They are not done in ascending or descending price point order, and they may not reflect the actual positioning of the tickets in the bin versus the display that the player sees. Custom, when selected, allows an LSR to drag a game to any position on the screen and then apply those changes. Once a change is applied, a confirmation screen will be presented for the LSR to agree to. Once confirm has been selected and the door is closed, the positioning of those tickets will now arrange based on the planogram that was selected. I'm now going to close the door and the ticket icons will now arrange based on what I have done in the planogram. You'll now see that the $20 ticket, which was previously in this position, is now in this position based on the custom planogram that I saved. Planograms can be changed at any time that the LSR is logged in locally and also at the host level. Planograms cannot be edited by the agent. Now on the inventory management screen, we're going to review the process for loading and unloading tickets. First, I'm going to select the bin that I'm looking to load, and I'm going to extend that bin. In this example, I'm going to use bin number 8. So I'm going to select bin number 8 from the screen. You'll see that there is no inventory loaded in this bin currently. Now I'm going to extend the bin out. And from the screen, I'm going to select the Add Change Inventory button. My options are to load a partial book or activate and load a full book. I'm going to select the Activate Load button, and I'm now presented with an option to select a 2-digit or 3-digit game. This is a 2-digit game, so I'm going to select the 2-digit game number. And I can now scan the pack activation card from the pack, or I can manually key in the information on the numeric keypad. For this example, I'm going to key in the numeric information. The parameters are going to be displayed on screen. So I can either hit yes to agree with the parameters, or I can hit the product details screen to update the parameters of that game. I'm going to select yes. The on-screen is going to tell me that the activation has occurred for that book number and the tickets have been loaded successfully. Now I can load the tickets into the bin like so. We recommend that for tickets that are under 8 inches, they can be loaded above the roller. Tickets that are larger than 8 inches should be loaded below the roller. I'm going to insert the tickets into the burster. The burster is going to grab and hold the ticket. I'm now ready to close the bin by folding the excess tickets in. Ensure that the whole row is snapped back into place. Now I'm ready to close the door. I will take the inventory report as my last item to make sure that I have all the inventory loaded and a record of what is in the terminal. To remove inventory from the bin, I'm going to select the bin number from the screen. I'm going to extend the bin. And I'm going to select the Remove Inventory button. I'm going to be presented with an on-screen prompt. Are you sure you want to remove all tickets from bin number 8? I'm going to select the green check mark. The burster is going to send the ticket back out. The bin has now been cleared and there are no parameters on the right-hand side of the screen. This bin is now empty. I can load a different game or I can load those tickets back in as a partial pack if necessary. The remaining tickets on the screen are the Feed Ticket and Ticket Reverse buttons. The Feed Ticket button will push a ticket through the burster. The Ticket Reverse will bring the ticket back through the burster. If for some reason either of those do not free the ticket, you can use it a second time to remove the ticket from the burster if there's a jam. The next option we're going to look at are the management functions. On the management function screen, the first button is the terminal information. The terminal information will print a ticket showing the agent number and the terminal number as it is represented. The next option on here is the Machine Disable button. This will disable the terminal in the same manner that the remote fob will. The Reset Volume button is used in conjunction with the volume buttons at the bottom of the screen. This will allow the agent to return the volume to the default level. The buttons on either side will allow the agent to increase or decrease the volume level on the terminal. The Version Info button provides information on the software and firmware versions that are loaded on the terminal. This may be helpful when an agent is speaking to hotline. The Video Help option provides short informational videos on how to conduct basic maintenance and preventive maintenance tasks. For example, how to clear a paper jam. Let's select that. You'll see that we have options here to return to the home screen, to rewind the video, and to forward the video. The play button in the center of the screen will allow the video to progress. Once the video has finished, I can now return to the home screen by touching the home icon. And now to get back to the main screen, I will touch the exit button. Refund slip inquiry. This is used to verify or to validate a refund slip that has been issued to a player. I'm now going to scan or manually enter the refund slip, and the terminal will verify that that refund slip is a valid refund slip from this machine. I'm now going to take the refund slip and I'm going to scan the refund slip using the barcode scanner. The terminal is now going to ask me to enter the amount of the refund onto the screen. So I'm going to enter $13 and press the green check mark. confirmation screen is going to show me the refund slip confirmation. So this has been a successful refund slip validation. This means that the agent can now refund the money to the player and know that this refund slip was a valid slip issued by this terminal. To exit the screen, I'm going to click on the green check mark, and that will return me back to the manager function screen. The last report we're going to look at, and one of the most important, is the shift report. The shift report can be accessed from the manager function screen. It can also be accessed through the local reports option under the reports menu. When the shift report is selected, the report will display on screen. The agent can cycle up and down through the report to review the information and print copies of the report using the print options at the bottom of the screen. The report does not automatically clear. The agent will have to clear the report manually. On the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see that the Clear Shift button is red. This means that the report has not been cleared. To clear the report, you're going to select this red button. A copy of the report will now print, and the shift report will zero out and is ready now to have the agent close the door and begin sales activity. Now that we've covered all of the functions on the GameTouch28 terminal, it's time to close it up. To do this, we're going to close the bin doors first. I'm going to make sure that this door is latched. To close, I'm going to make sure that the latch is in the horizontal position. Now it's time to close the main door. To close the main door, you're going to bring the door forward and ensure that the handle is up when closing the door. Make sure the door is closed firmly, release the handle, and ensure it falls into the lower level position. Turn the key into the horizontal position, release for a moment, and you can now withdraw the key. It's very important that you do not attempt to withdraw the key while turning the key in the lock. Again, let me demonstrate that. Turn the key, release for a moment, the key can now be withdrawn. We have now come to the end of our brief introduction on the GameTouch28 terminal. We thank you for joining with us today and hope that this has been informative and helpful. Have a great day.